many frames per second can we achieve in Minecraft 1.18.2? This might seem like a straightforward question. Just open Minecraft, press F3, and play with a few settings to see what works best. But no, that's not an accurate measurement. Let me show you why, and later in the video, we'll be pushing this to an absolutely absurd degree, and you won't want to miss that. First off, let's see what we can do with just vanilla Minecraft on its own. If I go into my video settings, most things are pretty standard. We are going to be using a render distance of 16 chunks, a simulation distance of 12 chunks, and most other things are on fancy or otherwise high settings. And of course, we have to have our frame rate unlimited. Let's load our test world, which is in vanilla survival. And here we are. So I am using Fabric Mod Loader, which we'll be using for some performance enhancing mods in a minute. But right now we are just showing the FPS in the top left of the screen. We're sitting at between 160 and 200 frames per second for the most part. Running around, it doesn't really go down much. It seems pretty stable and overall is running quite nicely. We can, of course, increase the frame rate significantly by just lowering the render distance, but this isn't really what I would consider to be playable in the base game, but we will be elaborating more on this in a minute. Now, remember how I said that just using the F3 menu and some basic vanilla settings as your measurement for what makes FPS good is not really accurate? Well, check this out. Right now, we're getting around 1000 FPS, but if I just open the F3 menu in vanilla, we drop by more than half down to 400 frames per second, and moving around, we drop below that. This is not just limited to vanilla. The F3 menu is actually extremely taxing because of the amount of information that it displays on the screen, and it just generally isn't that well optimized. So you're not going to be wanting to use this to see what you're actually getting in-game. Alright, we've now added a couple more mods to help with enhancing the performance of the game. We have Lazy DFU. This doesn't actually impact the game's functionality at all, it just makes the game load faster because it makes Data Fixer Upper more lazy, which means that this doesn't load right at the start of the game, which is what is really overbuilt and causes a lot of lag. We have Raise, which is just a minor quality of life thing. This doesn't affect frame rate at all. Now, we have Sodium here, which is effectively Optifine, but if Optifine was insanely fast, it completely changes the way that the UI looks in the options as well, and it just generally makes Minecraft run so much faster. So right off the bat, as soon as we've loaded all the chunks, we immediately saw our FPS go way higher. We're going to make sure that all of our settings are correct here. Anyway, overall, the frame rate is slightly higher. Moving around, it's a bit more stable than before, but what I can do is go to my options, and because of the fact that I have a thread ripper, we can actually use 48 threads. This is 48 CPU threads to render chunks, which does make a difference to performance on its own. Just with that, we should see our frame rate jump a little bit higher. See, now it's up in the higher 500s. We move around, it does go lower, of course, but for the most part, we're actually not seeing that much of a change in frame rate. Overall stability is a bit higher, and it loads chunks extremely quickly. Like, let me show this to you guys. If we move around, you'll notice that chunks will move extremely quickly, and we can even turn our render distance all the way up to 32 chunks. And look at how fast all of those chunks load, guys. Like, just, it is absolutely ridiculous. And we're still holding well over 200 frames per second. We could even, like, just keep moving around, and we're still going to see very stable FPS. Now, we could lower some graphic settings, which we will do in a minute to just show how absolutely ludicrous you can get the frame rate in Minecraft to be. We are going to be switching on one more mod that makes all of the difference in just making the game run a lot faster in general. And then we're going to be using all of these combined to really see what we can push Minecraft to. Now, we've added one more mod to the game. This is Starlight. It rewrites the lighting engine, fixes errors, and just makes loading of chunks way faster. We're going to load up our FPS test one more time, and then we are going to just let things get kind of crazy, kind of quickly. So with all of our mods together now, we're actually getting over 700 frames per second, kind of hovering around there. If we move around, that will go down, of course. Goes down to the 400s, which is still an improvement of over 100 frames per second. And this is just unrealistic, really. Nobody really needs this many frames. This is way pushing over the barrier, but we can drive it even further than this. We set our graphics to fast. Now, changing a couple of visual options does kind of boost our general FPS by 20 to 40, but overall, we're actually not seeing much of a difference, and we're seeing a pretty significant decrease in the visual quality of the game. So I wouldn't really say that changing your settings to an extreme degree matters that much on modern systems, but if you have a lower end system, that 20 frames can still be about the same change, but that can be a significant difference. Where things really start getting crazy is when we do all those combined with the mods and the lowered render distance. So now I can run around, and we are almost at 2,000 frames per second, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Nobody needs this many frames in Minecraft, but we can still push it even further. If we go into our video settings, I play at Quake Pro generally, but we're gonna actually put this down all the way to 30, and now there's a lot less for the game to render. And if we look straight down or straight up, we should actually see a measure. Yeah, look at that. We're up to 1800 now. We're getting even closer. Now we're sitting at 1900. Jesus, dude. Now, this obviously isn't that playable, but it's still, we got all the frames we could ever want here. So I think that this is a worthwhile trade-off, but we can take it even further than that. If we create a new world, more world options, change it to super flat, go to presets, and then we remove everything. Now we just have a super flat world that is just grass. We have broken the 2,000 barrier, guys. Barely, it was just for a brief moment, but we are at over 2,000 frames. If I go up here, we might actually be able to even push it further than that by eliminating the need to render all the chunks down there. So let's see how high we can go before it just becomes absolutely ludicrous. Well, we're at 2,000 now. And there we have it. We're now achieving over 2,100 frames per second, which I know is not the peak, but that's pretty impressive, all things considered. We are running on older AMD hardware, so this is not going to be the most we can get. I will be elaborating a bit more on this in a part 2 of this video with a 12900K. From a practical standpoint, yes, we didn't see a massive multi-thousand frame rate increase in vanilla Minecraft. But being able to run around reliably and still get hundreds of frames per second is absolutely wonderful. I remember way back in the day when I first started playing Minecraft, I was on a laptop that struggled to push 30 frames on tiny render distance. So this is honestly just quite magical. I mean, look at how fast we can reload chunks too. The speed at which modern hardware plus Sodium and Starlight, like, look at this. Every time we add more render distance, it still just reloads all of the chunks like it's nothing. And I absolutely love that. Just the ability to play the game with this stable of a high frame rate is absolutely magical. And if you have Minecraft Java Edition, I would seriously suggest switching from Optifine. Although it is an awesome mod and has been the go-to for many people for years, the Fabric mod loader combined with Sodium and just all of these new performance enhancing mods in general, which will be linked in the video description, really does make the game play completely differently. And if you still want shaders, you can do that with Iris shaders. However, be warned, Iris shaders is not compatible with Starlight. So if you want the improved lighting performance, both from a loading standpoint and from a stability standpoint, you are going to have to sacrifice Starlight for Iris. But overall, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'd like to give a big thank you to all of my patrons that continue to support my content. Without you guys, this video would not have been possible. Furthermore, I hope that you guys don't mind this experimental Minecraft content. I'm going to be making some more videos like this in Minecraft, Trackmania, and Portal 2, which are currently my 3 favorite games. I really enjoy all of them. And yeah, there's going to be a lot more to come. Hopefully, we can start pushing out more than 1 video a week. You all have a wonderful day, and I will catch you all in the next video. Also, join the Discord server, discord.gg/ivy. We're almost at 10,000 members.